All right. That'll be good. How you doing, George?
I made it.
You made it?
Always love when I make it.
Yeah. Hey, man, after the week I've had, like, that's really all I could ask for. We actually got here. We're good. Everybody's alive. Good Lord. We are here. We are good, though. And we won't be cut off 30 minutes early by The Rock, so that's good.
We don't know that for sure.
I just said, that's a good point. No, that's the funniest thing. Like I was out last night for my mom's birthday, and I came home and turned on and look at my phone, and I'm like, "What is this? What has happened?" It's fun to kind of get back and find that out later.
So before Phil gets in, which should be shortly, there he is.
Right.
Programming note: next week will be early. Stay tuned for the time, and next week there'll be no guests, so it'll be a chat orientated show. So you guys will be able to run the program, so to speak.
Yeah, no, we'll come on probably like before because it's Double or Nothing, and even though it's in my area, I'm not going. There's nothing on that card that makes me want to go.
I wanted to be fair to the person I had scheduled, so I moved him. So
this is what George does. This is what he does. All right, I invited Phil to speak and co-host, so he can jump in when he's ready. But I completely forgot the Double or Nothing was this upcoming weekend, and then it's literally in my area.
Saturday Night Live main event is
Saturday night's main event. Yep.
I call it Saturday Night Live main event. Sorry.
All right. Cool. No, you're good. You're good.
And then Monday or Double or Nothing is Sunday, so that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a weekend. What's up, Phil? You're muted, but you're ready. You're in the speaker if you're ready to go. Yeah, no, that should be really fun. It should be a really fun Saturday night's main event.
They got a lot of the card already set up. Most of it, don't they?
I think so, because they usually only do 4 matches at those, right? Or is it 5? They
Sometimes
might be able to pull off 5. Yeah. But I feel like, because you've already got Jay and Logan. You've got the tag match with Punk and Sammy and the Dangerous Alliance 2.0. And then
Cena
and R-Truth. So, they'll probably sneak in a women's title match, maybe? I don't know.
We don't know. Oh, Phil's gone.
No, he's right there. Oh, no, he left. All right.
There he's back again.
Technical difficulties. Botchcast. Very good. Although what's cool is once you invite somebody in as the speaker, they stay in. So.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There he is.
I learned that when you dropped out and went back in that time. Hey, what's up, Phil? How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Sorry, my headphones were messed up. It was like making a weird fuzzy sound, and I couldn't hear what you guys were saying. Really.
Oh, good, buddy. I totally understand. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We are good. We are
tremendous. I'm watching the Leafs game in the background.
That's good, man. Game 7, right?
Yes, sir. Are you stoked for your series against Dallas?
Of course, dude.
Yeah.
We're gonna win that thing, man.
Dude, I'm not an Edmonton fan, but I became an Edmonton fan because of you. So yeah. Hey.
It's hard not to root for your friends.
Their games are the funnest for sure.
No doubt. I stay up late. I have to work in the mornings at 7. So, but I'm up watching those games, and I'm like, these are good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the playoffs, it's one of those things you just gotta do it. Yeah, I get you.
Hockey playoffs are like no other playoffs anywhere, just for the record.
Yeah, they're the best, truly.
Okay, I had a question to start, Phil, so I'm just going to get right to it if you don't mind.
Perfect. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Okay, so PWT recently just celebrated its 2-year anniversary, correct?
Yeah, not too
2
long.
years, that's it.
Yeah.
So you guys, you're quite an anomaly in the YouTube world when it comes to time production here, so to speak.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, can you kind of take us through maybe what the original plan was for PWT, and when are you realizing that you're becoming very popular, and how plans are changing, and how we get to kind of where we are today, where now it's your full-time job?
Well, that's a great question. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's even like just my full-time job. I do a lot of other shit on the side. I write, I video edit. I just pick up gigs here and there. I do gig work, independent contract work where I can. But yeah, I do put like full-time energy, effort, and hours into, you know, building and growing PWT. So how did it start? Basically, I just started, you know, I would be sending voice notes back and forth with my buddy, and it was like, why don't we just record it? And we actually had a pro wrestling podcast like a decade prior, but we did like 4 episodes and didn't know what the fuck we were doing, didn't know anything about broadcasting or RSS feeds or anything like that. And so that just sort of, just went away. It was like a big deal. We just like got rid of it, scrapped it. And then, yeah, so the audio, like basically when it comes to YouTube, like I had like a gaming channel that I nuked, like once I started doing Pro Wrestle Times. Like I had other YouTube channels and stuff, and, one of the things I do or have done professionally is worked with big YouTube channels. I'm not going to stooge which ones, but there's some with like 8.5 million subscribers and stuff. And I would like help them get their videos like in the algorithm, make sure I like optimize their channels and things like that. Like I just understand. I grew up
Right.
with YouTube and things like that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to drop audio clips of the podcast on YouTube because there's like the whole Clipper thing, like everybody has a Clips channel and stuff. And it was like, hey, I'm going to make this Clips channel, which is like our main to promote the podcast. It's like the main channel. There's clips from our show and other little funny edits. When I have time, I'm going to upload them here. And then, and so, yeah, I just basically started clipping the show. It got popular on YouTube, and then I got really into like responding to every comment and talking to the community and on posts and
Yep.
stuff like that. And then I realized, like, okay, let me try. Like, I should do a live show. I'm monetized and shit. I keep getting emails from YouTube about, hey, you should get members and stuff like that. You should add members, like memberships. And I'm like, okay, so what do I offer? Well, let me do a live show. Why don't I do a live version of PWT podcast? But it's like different where I go and I react like to what's going on Twitter drama because I'm a fan of YouTube channels where people are reacting to Twitter drama and shit like that, or they're just like
Right.
pulling articles off X and then going to this site and then showing you this and then reacting to this clip. I'm a fan of shows like that. So I was like, I could do that in pro wrestling though. Like nobody's doing that. And so, yeah, it just sort of spurned into I go live. My audience grows every week, was growing every week. I'm like, holy shit, I have like a live audience now. That's hard to build. And I didn't realize that first. I'm like pretty quick. I had like a couple hundred people watching me. I didn't
Yeah.
realize like there's people with way more subs than me that fucking get like way less live viewers than I do. I didn't realize how actually good I was killing it at live at first. And then once I realized, I was like, okay, I think the live is my main thing I got to do. And the podcasts almost need to be like specials almost in a way. And yeah, pretty much it blew up on YouTube by accident, although I was like a YouTuber in a way. I had other channels. I've worked on like other big channels. Like I've edited videos for channels I guarantee like lots of people watched if you're into like comic books and stuff. I've done work for like yeah, you guys know I have a channel called at Phil
Yeah.
on YouTube where I talk about like comic books and movies and shit. So yeah, I've worked in that space. I've been a writer. I've written like hundreds of scripts. I've never had anything like made on Netflix or anything. One day, that's a goal of mine.
Someday, yeah.
I've never
Hell
been
yeah.
published. Yeah, I've like written a comic book and never got it published. I've written other stuff. I've ghost written things, stuff like that. So, but yeah, YouTube is always something I was passionate about, but it was also like work, like it was my job. So I didn't like fucking for other people. So I didn't like really fully figure out. I wasn't like, yeah, I'm going to go do YouTube, but like I always knew if I did do YouTube, pro wrestling was going to be the main thing that like if I did it seriously, I had a gaming channel before that wasn't serious. I just uploaded like shorts and little funny clips and shit. Um, but like I knew like, okay, if I'm really going to get my personality out there, like, cause YouTube's all about finding a niche and then fucking running with it, like
Right.
everything's a niche
Yeah.
these days. Like you'll find artists out there or like YouTube channels that have a million fucking subscribers and you've never heard of them. And you're like, what? There's a million people who watch this and it's because everything's a niche. And so I always knew my niche would ultimately be pro wrestling, but I honestly didn't, I sort of stumbled into it oddly enough.
And you got all your wrestling background from your grandfather, am I right?
Well, yeah, I
Or
mean,
father?
I
I don't
grew up
remember.
watching it, but I was fortunate enough where that's a great question. My grandfather, like, he taped everything. I'm talking like you go to
Yeah.
his house, he had notebooks, where he had everything cataloged. So like it would be, let's say you look in the catalog and it says number 164. So that means tape 164, and
Oh my gosh.
there'd be a list on it like Baby's Day Out, Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, and that's what he had record. You know what I mean? Like he would record
Yeah.
everything and he cataloged it. And you'd go into his room. My grandmother had like an Elvis Presley shrine where she was obsessed with Elvis, and then and then on the other side of that shrine room was like a library, like a tape library. And one of the things he taped more than anything was pro wrestling. So I was fortunate enough to where I was watching every week, but also, yeah, my grandfather was showing me all the shit I had just missed by a hair, like the Hulk Hogan era, and
Right.
just he had everything taped. So I was so fortunate I could go back and watch like the whole year's worth of Raw or whatever
That's amazing.
yeah, it was amazing. So I did grow up very fortunate in that regard to where I was watching MMA and pro wrestling like very, very early on and watching stuff that I don't know if other people had access to, luckily.
You were binge watching before binge watching was cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, for real, I spent a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like, it was tough. Like, how I grew up was
That's
really,
awesome.
really rough, and so my grandparents a lot of the time like sprung in and helped. You know what I mean? And my
Yeah.
grandparents, I was really fucking close with them. So,
Me too.
yeah, so me and my grandpa watching wrestling tapes and just movies in general is like my fondest memory as a kid for sure.
Do those tapes still exist?
They do probably somewhere, but I mean,
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
they
hell of a
pass,
catalog
I
to
mean,
find.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's there's all family stuff, whatever, that I'm not going to get into
Yeah.
bullshit and bum every
Yeah.
show, but, they do exist somewhere, I'm sure, stored away, yeah.
So what's funny is my grandmother had a shrine too, but it was to Frank Sinatra. So and that's right, that tracks. I'm about 10 years older than you, so that tracks. So my grandma, one of her areas in one of the side rooms was a shrine to Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that in forever.
Yeah, she was a Rat Pack gal too, my grandma, but she
That's awesome.
Elvis was like, she had every Elvis movie. Now that's the thing too, you guys would think, oh, they taped everything, so they didn't buy movies and shit. Wrong, man. They had a fucking,
Oh, right, for sure.
they had every Elvis movie. Certain ones though, if it was something they liked, then they went out of their way to fucking buy it, which I was lucky enough to inherit a bunch of that. But the actual like tape
Nice.
library, yeah. So that's like, I don't know. I didn't get my hands on any of that, unfortunately, but one day I will.
Cool.
No, it's funny that you mentioned the like connecting with the audience and the comments and stuff, because I thought that was the first way I connected with you, because I remember somehow you came across one of my feeds early on, because it was definitely early in your process, because I commented on the thing, and you commented back to me, and we interacted, and we talked a little constructive criticism, and it was just a good little interaction. And that's one of the things that got me to be a fan of your show from the beginning. And that's something that I try to do with our show where I can, where if somebody leaves a comment, good, bad, indifferent, I'm ready to interact with folks, because it's a big community. So it's really a real cool community that you've built for everybody.
Yeah, nice. Thank you, man. Yeah, I get complimented on the chat and the community a lot, and that's what I'm trying to do is just like, I just want people who don't take themselves too seriously, who
Yeah.
understand, like, okay, my headset's fucking up again. I don't know. Can you guys hear that?
You sound fine. There's like a little background noise, but I'm used to that with the kind of spaces and stuff. And I've got my headset on, so you sound fine to us, though. For me, at
Okay.
least.
One of my headphones is fucking glitching out. I hope works fine for you guys. But yeah, I don't know. Just I get complimented on the community and the chat a lot, and I just want people who can just take jokes, can laugh about wrestling, and are cool with like, I don't give a shit if you love AEW. Clearly, I do too, because I fucking yell about it every day, and I watch it every week, and I fucking have an Orange Cassidy T-shirt, and I wear Okada T-shirts, and I'm a fan of this shit. Like, I'm sorry that I want it to last a very long time, and you don't like my way of going about fucking criticizing this shit, but you don't get, like, I don't care, sicko, you don't get to run how everyone else thinks, right? So I just want people who understand that, like, we can disagree, we can be cool, and like constructive criticism is really key too, especially when you're first building a
Yeah.
channel. And like one of the things is, like, if you have a YouTube, like, okay, anyone will just talk shit on Twitter. People will block you, but like screen grab your account and then fucking talk shit every day, right? And like Reddit, there's a lot of people who are kooky, and there's a lot of kooky people everywhere. You guys can still hear me fine, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. But like on YouTube, though, for a lot of it, it's people who like seek out that type of content or seek you out, and then spend the time to actually like go onto a video. And so those are people you really want to interact with. And yeah, early on, I was all about, like, I have to respond to every single comment, whether they're telling me to delete my life or they're telling me that they love what I'm doing. I need to respond to each and every listener or viewer. I also don't like the word fan. I don't like it to be like, oh, you guys are
Yeah.
my fans. I don't like that. I don't care if other people say it. I don't like, I'm not like getting triggered by how other people, but to me, it's like your viewers, your listeners,
The
like
audience.
your wrestling fans. Yeah, you're my audience. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, as
Yeah,
far, I don't.
when I first started listening to PW2, I didn't like you at all.
That's
I'm like
awesome.
I didn't like AEW. I started liking AEW a little bit, then I didn't like it. And I listened to you, and I'm like, man, this guy loves AEW. I just don't see it. And then but you were always fair though. I could always see that. And I'm like, I think I DM'd you once. So I'm like, dude, I don't pay for content, but I'm going to pay for your shit because I like what you're talking about. And then I slowly picked up what you're actually saying, and not just being cornered into a stuck in a corner there. And I liked where you were heading, and I'm like, okay, he makes some sense because you're very fair, if nothing else, and you always put over AEW, and you always get bummed out in the end. But you try.
Yeah,
You always want to give him that chance.
yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for that. I guess, I just try to be fair. Like, you see so many people who it's clearly like you're fucking grifting, or you don't even have like an opinion that's like valid because you don't even understand what the fuck you're watching if you don't. I don't know. I'm not like one of these snobs. You have to know the history of pro wrestling and all this shit, but it's like if you're gonna act like one, then
Right.
like fuck you. And so I don't like to act like that. It's just like, okay, you have to understand that just because you don't like something doesn't mean other people don't like it. But it doesn't mean I'm not allowed to critique that shit with my thoughts or add historical context where I can. I don't know. I'm no Jim Cornette, but like I don't know. I like to think I have a good
You do good.
understanding of how wrestling's supposed to be. So yeah, that's all. I try to give everybody their due, and I'm not one of these guys either. Like, a lot of people talk shit to wrestlers and are like, "You're a puss, you're a bitch, man," and stuff like that. I don't do shit like that either because it's like that's disrespectful. Like, ultimately at the end of the day, I mean, like, yeah, I'm gonna voice my opinion. I'm sure some people don't like it, but at the end of the day, it's human beings, and they are entertaining everyone, and they are putting their lives on the line and shit like that, right? So I get it. I get where their egos and people can become overly sensitive, and people can become defensive over like the thing they like. People get
Yeah.
defensive over Marvel movies or DC movies or whatever. I understand that fully, fully, fully. And that's why I try to be fair, because it'd be much easier for me to just go, fuck AEW, man. I want it, fuck it, destroy it. I'd probably have more followers if I did that. If I was like, no, I'm just WWE through and through, injected in my veins. Fuck A-Wubs, like to the death, or vice versa. I might have just used that comparison twice because that's how I'm feeling lately. But you guys know what I mean, right? It's like
Yeah, no,
I
100%.
went one way or the other. So I just try to shoot fair, but I also don't care if people like, I don't know. I don't care if people don't want to cover their shit fairly either. It's not up for other people to tell people what to do or how to think, but everybody's allowed to be critical of everybody, and people like consuming people being critical of stuff. So, yeah, I just that's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do. Nobody like
But
people used
there's
to
that point though.
be in Roper too for fucking
Yeah.
criticizing movies. It's just, it is what it is. You guys want to call it cinema? Okay, I'm fucking Ebert and Roper in this bitch, and I get the thumbs up or thumbs down. I don't give it stars, Brian, but I'm allowed to do that, and you guys are allowed to get mad, whatever. But I try to approach it fairly. Because listen, man, I am a pro wrestling fan, and I was an advocate for AEW. Here's the other thing, like that shit could have been cool, man. The Bucks and Kenny and all that shit could have been really cool if they presented it properly, but they fucking didn't in the long run. Like after 2 years of like, okay, if you don't reel it in, it's gonna start fucking up, and then it starts fucking up, and then out of the pandemic, they completely shit the bed coming out of the pandemic, and it just hasn't fully recovered. And then all the Punk stuff and everything, and it's like, I'm trying, dude. Like, how much more? You got all the Punk fans to come over, and then you guys fucking kick them out of the company. What do you think is gonna happen? Like, there's a whole bunch of people who aren't even WWE or AEW fans. They're just CM fucking Punk fans, and you
Yep.
pull those people back, and fucking you just fumbled them all. Like, it's not my fault. I don't hate AEW because I point that out, and you're a fucking retard who can't. Sorry, I gotta stop saying that shit. But you're fucking dumb. You can't like handle your emotional connection to. You wanted this thing to beat the Fed because Vince McMahon, who's fucking gone and is non-existent in the wrestling world. You know, like, I'm so sorry. That doesn't make me a hater. Whatever. And I appreciate you saying I'm fair, because a lot of people don't think I am. They either just label me as an e-drone, or they think I fucking hate WWE as well, because I've been critical.
Now, if you sit down and actually listen to what you're saying, like I
Right.
did, you sit down and listen and take it in, you're totally fair, and that's why I became a member and stuff
I
like
mean, that's
that.
why
So.
I remember when I first heard the clips, I wasn't quite sure, because I would agree with certain things but not hear everything. But when you listen to the episodes in full, I was like, oh no, me and this guy are very similar on things. And then if we did disagree on things, or it was, something where I had a different opinion or something, the way you presented it, it's like, well, that's a fair way of thinking of things. It's not like you're just like, this is the only way to do it. There's nothing else right, my way, or you're an idiot,
You can't,
and then block people.
I bring Awful on the show, Awful Wrestling. No,
He's been on the
I
show.
don't think anybody challenges Awful more than me, or I don't think anybody challenges me more than Awful.
Right.
And so when I have him on the show and people go, why did you have this guy on the show? He fucking hates AEW. He wants it to die. Because isn't that the interesting perspective to have? 80 billion of you idiots on here, because you're all bots. That's the thing. I swear to God, there's like more sicko bots than there are people who even watch AEW. But
Very
like
true.
it's like you motherfuckers like all think the same thing. Why wouldn't you want to hear a different way of thinking or a different attitude towards something? And it's called compelling programming. Like, we're doing a radio show here. You guys want to sit around and hear everyone go, yep, yep. Oh, no, that's right. Yep, yep, Okay, then
That's King of the Hill.
There's 400 other fucking shows that do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to be the one that does that. Sorry. You know what I mean? I'm just not going to be the one that does that. Not going to be the one that bites my tongue. But I'm going to be fair. I'm not going to be gross and shitty about things. But, it just is what it is, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Without getting too specific, I know you had somebody working with you for a while. What made you guys decide to go your separate ways, and you decide to take the ball by yourself and run with it? Because you're much. I went back and listened to the beta episode that you had, and it's a total difference.
Yeah.
With two people and by yourself. I've even told you behind the scenes. I've told you many times that you're much better by yourself.
Yeah, right. Well, that was just it. It was sort of like when I started PWT, it was like me not realizing that, I should have just been doing this alone from the start, and I should have just brought my buddy in to just do episodes with me and stuff like that. And so basically what happened was, and shout Hairline out, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I wish no ill will against him. He's probably out touring music right now or something, and that was just it. It became, we're just moving in different paths. That's all it was. It was nothing too terrible. And I was like, dude, why don't you do a show on the road and send it in? And he was real against that. And it was just, I don't know. We just had different visions of what this was going to be. And like PWT was, before I ever started a show, just so everyone knows, like I was on Twitter as Pro Wrestle Times tweeting about shit. You know what I mean? Like in the IWC for a while, like talking shit, trolling here and just giving my thoughts on wrestling shows and stuff like that. And then I launched a show And in fact, before I was even active, like if you look at the year my account was activated for Pro Wrestle Times, and then you go back, like if you go to the beginning, like I don't even think I tweeted on the account till maybe even like a year or two after I created the account, because I had just thought of the name one day, Pro Wrestle Times. Oh, I need to get that handle. So I
Right now, lock that down.
yeah, like so you got to do that, right? You think of a good domain, or you think of like a handle, and I don't know. Like I told you guys before, I grew up like with the internet, so it was like I was always on that shit, So I need to own that name. I need to go get Pro Wrestle Times. No one has that. Oh look, they don't own it anywhere. Not on Instagram. I'm the first. I need that. So
I get you.
yeah, it was. I made a logo for it. It was nothing. It was nothing. I didn't know if it was going to be a pod, if it was going to be me making posts like one of those accounts like on this day, and I didn't know what it was going to be.
Right.
And then I sort of just figured it out as it went. And but yeah, thank you. I do think I'm much stronger solo. I like doing my show solo too, because then I don't drag anybody into my shit. Like if I say something that then nobody gets any on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I'm just controversial. I'm going to get canceled. You guys know, everybody knows.
As somebody who's been pre-blocked by people from that, most likely, I don't mind. That's fun.
So it's like, you guys gotta understand, like any post you guys see, I promise you, I get asked this every day. Yo, Dave's got you blocked. Yo, these guys, why do they have you blocked? Yo, why do they turn the comments off whenever I have to post a screen grab or something? It's because I'm blocked by everybody. I'm pre-blocked by everybody. Any sicko where you're like, that's a crazy sicko, they have me blocked already. I promise you. I don't know why. I don't know
That's
when.
amazing.
I don't know if it's when Auntie Wrestling or whatever made that list and fucking.
Oh, I forgot about that list.
You just made the list. Yeah, I was on the second draft of that one, so I don't know.
That's
They
good.
all just community, but it's weird because I even saw neckbeards pointing out like these fucking tweets that were coming out from sickos the other day. They're verbatim, word for word again. This happens all the time, and it's like, are they getting mass memos? Do they all have 8 fucking burners? I don't understand. I don't get it. But yeah, I'm pre-blocked by all these motherfuckers. So when it comes to my show too, like I like going solo because if I say some shit, it's on me. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
like sometimes I have a strong opinion about WWE. Like lately, I've been going hard on WWE. No one wants to talk about that though. No sickos want to talk about that.
Of course not. Doesn't fit the narrative.
Yeah. So, I don't want to maybe I criticize something in a way that someone might not agree with. And then instead of taking 30 minutes up on my show, fucking hashing that out, when it's something menial, it's like, no, it's just on me. Or if someone gets offended
For sure.
by some shit I say on my show, that's on me. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of why I like to do it that way as well. And I can just rant and rave. Like I don't know. My mind goes. You guys can tell. Yeah. And I can just go off, do my thing. And
no, I always respect the hell out of it because that's something where like that's one of the reasons why George and I do so well is because we can play off each other. Like I don't think I could do what you do and just go and go and go. It's awesome. It's great to just tune in and listen. That's one of the reasons I've been a fan of yours for as long as I have been.
I can say one thing. As a mod in the chat is very. You got to do a lot to get booted from there. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
We let a lot of stuff go that you want it to go. You told me let it go.
Yeah.
Jacko, yeah.
So you gotta do
it.
You gotta be pretty harsh to get booted from there.
Yeah. Usually people will boot themselves because people just make fun of them and because it's like Phil said, it's a good community of people who kind of get it. Like we don't take any of it too seriously. We're here to have fun. Like let's have a good time with it. We'll crack some jokes. We can crack jokes on each other. I'll be the first person to crack a joke on myself. Like I have no problem with it.
Fucking chat's like shittier to me than anybody else. So I get roasted hard too, but no, chat's important. You got to let people come and say what they want. Now I have and you can't come in there and spam like the N word and get my account fucking nuked or whatever, obviously. But,
right.
Yeah, you got to let people make jokes and just say what they're going to say. And it's just I don't know. A lot of people like to pretend that like they don't exist on the internet or they're all these perfect people and you don't think something is funny when deep down it is. Like, I don't know. I don't live in that world, man. I'm like, we got to have fun.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, before I ask you about the Phil Marks Out thing,
Sure.
I wanted to. So Saturday night, you're doing your live show, and I'm watching chat. And I'm watching the hockey game, and I'm seeing Collision's gone. What happened to Collision? And like you're watching it, but you're still doing your thing, and I'm like watching the chat going, I think Collision stopped 30 minutes early, but you actually saw what happened. What happened? Do we know?
Well, they're just in the middle of the show. Well, not the middle, I guess, like the middle of the second hour, and then at the top of the hour, just out of nowhere. And this isn't like how it happened was I was taken off. Like I just thought it went to a commercial break, and I was seeing like the
Right.
for like a movie, but no, it just literally went to the intro. Like you know the title graphics where it's like DC, Warner Brothers and shit, you know? It just went to that thing for Black Adam, and then Black Adam just started playing. Like just automatically, it just went to the movie and it started playing. So it was pretty hilarious. Yeah, it's just funny too to see people like jump on Will Ospreay's ass where they're like, "Oh, do you guys do television transmissions for taped shows?" Like that was a taped show too. So how do they fuck that?
Right.
It wasn't even like a live. It was a fucking taped show. So
That's what I couldn't figure out. I was out to dinner with it was my mom's birthday, and so my wife and I were out to dinner, and we were like 40 minutes away, and I was driving. So I got home, and it was funny because I put PWT on. And I was checking my phone for Twitter. I'm like, what are all these notifications? What's going on? And I had to try to like piece it together of what happened. But I was like, wasn't it a taped show? Wasn't it a taped show? Like, wait a minute. How did that? Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. And then and Dave posted today, we're still trying to figure out what happened with that last 30 minutes. Like, Dave, it's over. It's like
I know. Yeah. It's like,
let it go, buddy. Let it go.
Yeah, dude. So that was pretty crazy. I guess, I don't know. I'm going to have updates for all of that. I go live, when's my next live show? Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll probably talk about that because it's so funny and just whatever the updates are. And also when they tweeted out like, oh, the West Coast still has the feed, they didn't.
And it didn't.
And it didn't.
Yeah, West Coast got knocked out as well. So, I mean, it's pretty embarrassing. And here's the thing, like, I'm not one of these guys where it's like fucking kick people while they're down or kick them while they're down. It's easy to pile on, whatever. But of course, I'm going to make fun of this. And it's like, how many times has WWE been interrupted in the middle of a promo for a fucking Taco Bell commercial? Or has someone crashed into the barricade, then the feed gets knocked out, like Brody King that one time, or the fucking show just gets cut off for Black Adam. Like, how many times does that happen in WWE's history? Let alone this happens like all the time. I feel like
they had the NBA audio come in once too. I remember all of a sudden the audio for a minute and a half was the NBA game. Like, yeah, they yeah. And that's not a Turner issue as far as they want to blame Turner, but like, sorry guys, it's only happening on one show as far as I know.
But I only know that happened once. I think, there was a WCW pay-per-view where the power went out.
Yeah,
no, the WWF pay-per-view is the one with Austin and
that was
Savio Vega had the strap match, and that was because of the weather. Like that was in South Carolina, I think.
Yeah, that's like lights going out, bro. This
right?
Is
yeah.
Show that was sent in, and they and the guy, like someone just programmed it to start Black Adam to start half hour.
Yeah, that's the best part is that it's the Rock's movie.
Out of there for the weekend or something. Like, how does that even happen? Such a botch.
Said it wrong.
Yeah, if I had to guess, they just programmed it. It was just a mistake, and someone programmed it for half hour earlier than it was supposed to come on. But I just don't know how that happens on a taped show. I just really don't.
Yeah. It's so bad. No, George, what I think you're thinking of is that WCW pay-per-view that somehow cut off in that last half hour. I think. Yeah, and it was like it was DDP and Goldberg, I think it was. I know DDP was it. Yeah, that's what you were thinking of. I think it was almost in the same year, or like within the same time frame too, of those two events. But yeah, like this was something and it was so funny for me trying to piece it together and seeing random videos. I'm like, no, they just cut off 90 minutes into the 2-hour show. I mean, let's be real though. They said Wheeler Yuta was in the main event. I mean, WBD was probably just like, no, we can't have him in the main event. Pass.
Yeah. Phil, I'm curious of one thing real quick before I let Jake ask another question because I'm kind of hogging everything here.
You've asked like 2 questions I had written down. So you're good.
Okay,
Joe.
good.
You're great.
the Dave Meltzer Flute thing. What's the evolution of that? Like, how'd that start? Because I don't remember. I don't
Basically,
remember.
what happened was with the Dave Meltzer Flute thing is, so I used to just be like, it's time for Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week, and I would just do a dumb moment of the week,
Right,
and
I
then
remember that.
yeah, and then the flute came from like, behind the scenes. I'm like, I need a sound for this. I need a sound for this. I need a sound for this. What sound could it be? And I just heard that Harry Potter fail flute, and I went, that's fucking perfect. Like it's just got to be something that lets you know that this dude is whatever he's doing. It's about to be an epic fail.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I've heard other ones too where they have like the flute with like, the Titanic song or other things to go into it, but the Harry Potter one works so perfectly for him.
Yeah.
I know our good friend 626 is working on a Dave Meltzer omnibus.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I hope he is working on it. Like he said he would do it, and he's like, it's going to take a long ass time. And I'm like, that's
Right.
cool.
Yes, it will.
I was like, that's cool, brother, but I hope he does it. That would be amazing. He's come through. I mean, he made a bunch of signs on PWT for,
Yeah, he
two
emailed me the PDF of the one that he made for the for the one that got taken away because I'm going to the show on June 9th. I'm not sure if I can physically make the sign because I have the artistic ability to draw like stick figures, but yeah, he
what
sent me that. That's good stuff.
what show are you going to?
Monday Night Raw on June 9th. It's in Phoenix, so it's like a mile away from me. It's the same one I went to, same
So
arena where Tippy cashed in.
so he sent you a PWT sign?
No, he sent me the flutes
Oh, the
PDF that he
flute.
made for
Yeah,
Dave.
let's get it. Let's get it on
Yeah.
TV, man. Let's get the flute.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get on the hard cam side because my buddy who I usually go with can't go, so I'm going solo, so I'm gonna try to see if I can get somewhere on the hard cam side and just hold that up for you. That's my goal.
Oh, you gotta absolutely do that, man. That'd be fucking hilarious.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. So, is there a comparison between the wrestling fans and the comic book sector that you started because you started Phil Marks Out, which is obviously a totally different project. So, is there a similarity between the two groups, or are they different? Or how is it?
They're
I
large.
don't know anything about that.
They're largely different, like when it comes to talking about movies and stuff. But no, they're very much the same. Like especially the hardcore. So when it comes to pro wrestling, I've always said it is just real life comic books come to life. That's why it
Right.
works well. It's real life superheroes doing extraordinary things with stories, reason behind why they do the things they do. Unless you're in AEW, then you just do stuff. And there's always got to be proper motive, and there's always a debate who beats who. And if it's two versus two, will if the Avengers fight Galactus, will if Fantastic Four fights Galactus? But if it's the Fantastic Four without Reed Richards and then they fight Galactus, there's all these different factors, right? There's all these different ways to look at it and debate who's stronger, and the storylines are evergreen. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean by that? They're evergreen.
Yeah,
Like they don't end. So pro wrestling just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and
and
goes.
one thing flows into the next, and you can make callbacks to other things and tie into some Easter egg that you know. Yeah, it's perfect. 100%.
Everything's canon. Same with comic
Yes.
books. Everything's canon unless you reboot the canon. Now the one trick with pro wrestling is that it's centered around a sport, and you can't really redo canon. The most you can do is say, well, in that company, that's their canon, and over here, this is our canon. That's really the most you can get away with. But yeah, so I would say it's very much the same. Absolutely.
Right, the details are different, but at the core, they're the same fan space. That makes sense.
Interesting.
And people want story. People want good storylines. And pro wrestling is the comic books of, like, think about it. Comic books is like the pro wrestling of literature. It's like, oh, you're an adult. You need pictures with those words and the fucking, you know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah,
well, yeah, cool. It's the same with pro wrestling. Oh, you're an adult and you like the fake fighting. That's on that's like, well, you'll
yeah, they
watch.
automatically look down on it no matter what, even if it is a a wonderfully told story. They don't care because of the medium it's in. 100%.
Like, you'll watch like half midget Tom Cruise fight 14 guys and go, oh, that's real. Him in his platform shoes. You know, like no, It's not real, dude. So it's the same thing, right? And comic books is sort of the pro wrestling of literature, the way pro wrestling is sort of like the comic books of entertainment. I hope that makes sense to those of you.
No,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
really good analogy. That's almost a perfect analogy, especially for what it was when we were all growing up too, where it was really looked down upon. It still is to a point these days, obviously, but you kind of have to take, especially with comic books and the Marvel movies and making as much as they have to get respect on that level.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So what was your impetus in starting the Phil Marks Out channel then? Just because I know when I'm in chat, sometimes you make references that I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. So
yeah.
I'm assuming that's probably why.
Well, I work like I'm passionate about that stuff. Like
Awesome.
I've worked in the space. I've worked around like comic artists and some actors and writers and stuff like that. And so it's just another passion of mine. You know what I mean? And like I
Yeah.
said before, I had other YouTube channels and they were more focused on that sort of shit, but I just wasn't active and like fully passionate about it. At the end of the day, um, pro wrestling is like my favorite fucking thing, period.
Right.
Watch. So that's always going to be like first and foremost. But this is a way for me to expand and talk about and like review movies. Like yeah, I love movies. I like, I have other interests besides, pro wrestling and also my guy Suplex, I don't know if you guys know Suplex. Okay.
I remember your pod with him.
Yeah. So Suplex is a guy who like, he's like one of the OGs, man. I've been watching him since fucking for like 10 years, maybe 10 plus years on YouTube. I don't even know if he used to be called Suplex, but I knew him since like back when. Not know him, but as a content creator, I was a fan of this guy.
Right.
And early on, like I'm talking, I got 300 subscribers and Suplex, and shout out Wrestling Soup too, like fucking Joe Numbers was like one of the earliest people to like comment on my videos and show them. I'm not even joking. But like before I had any following at all. But also Suplex was one of them, and he pops into the lives and he'll say this or that. And he's like, "What's up, my guy? He's always been cool to me. Give me a follow, come on the podcast, all that sort of thing." And he told me, yeah, he just gave me some sound advice, and he was like, you should do this other thing too if that's what you're into type shit. I'm not going to get into what everything said, but shout out
Yeah,
to
it's cool.
yeah. A lot of people wouldn't, he's very much well, he's not even that into wrestling that much anymore, which is crazy, but he's very much a lot of people maybe wouldn't think that we'd align, me and that guy, as far as like how we view wrestling and stuff, but we do actually in a lot of ways. So he's good shit, and shout out Suplex. He really just motivated me to be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Why not?
Hey, I mean, and you paid it forward. You motivated me to do this. There's no way I would have if you didn't bring me on and got to give me that extra help and motivation and that kick in the button that, like you could do this and help me give me that, onus to do this. And look at us now. We're having fun with it. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Something I always wanted to do, just never had I'll admit it, never had the stones to take that chance, but having the right people to kind of push you and guide you and be there to give you a little help if you need it really does go a long way.
No, you're right, man. I try to inspire as many, I try to help or just inspire people to just do shit that they want to fucking do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So like anybody, well, whatever, I don't even talk about it, but I stream with a lot of people. I try and find like.
Yeah, you brought people on your show before that either are just getting started or don't have as big of a following or have a different mindset.
It's not just about like, oh, you got more subs than me. Can you come on do for me type shit? It's not about that. It's like I like to also be like, yeah, I want to have this person on my show because I think they have a good, even if I don't agree with everything, maybe they're at least like covering this other thing that maybe I don't have time to cover that fucking I think they're good at it, and I want to try and give them a platform or a voice too. I look at things sometimes. I'm not trying to be like, oh.
No, so I won't ask who your favorite guest is. I won't ask who your favorite guest is, but who's your most interesting guest you think you've had on?
You can ask that.
Okay, who's your favorite?
Yeah,
I don't know if I have a favorite, to be perfectly honest.
See, that's why I didn't ask it.
Yeah, that's a tough question. That's a really good guess.
Who's my favorite person to just like fucking joke and roast and just talk shit and hang with is for surely Husey and Numbers and Awful are all right, like neck and neck and neck. You know, as far as like my favorite people to Husey's probably like me and him just talk like all the time. So he's probably overall, I'd say I could just definitively probably give him the top slot is like that's my guy. Husey's my fucking guy, you know? Who's like what did you say? Who's the most interesting guest?
Yeah. Like the one where you sat down afterward and said, "Wow, I learned a lot there. Or, I didn't know that from him."
That's
or
yeah,
whatever.
the unexpected. Yeah,
Matt Morgan for sure. Was very interesting.
That was obviously the one we could understand what he was saying, right?
Yeah,
on
there
the
was one.
but not recalled in. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh yeah, when he called in, he's at like he called for people listening who don't know. I'm doing a live show, PWT live show, and fucking Matt Morgan's like, yeah, I'm gonna come in, bro. I'm gonna come in, right? I'm like, okay, I appreciate you. He's at like some political conference or something.
Like a PT, yeah, with like the kids and parent council.
Oh, yeah,
things. Yeah.
some fuck. I don't know. The man's a politician and shit. Who knows? He's at some like. He's somewhere. He's at some venue. He runs out to his car, like in the parking lot. He phones, and he sounds like he's calling in from like underwater, dude. It's like, my God, it was so funny, dude. And yeah, shout out Matt Morgan. He's interesting just because how it happened. I'd say that was the most interesting because like the first time I linked with him, he literally was like, I'll pop in right now. And I was like, are you fucking serious? He's like, yeah. And I was live and I was so new. Like I was so new to streaming and everything. And I had Awful with me. And yeah, I think we just had a really great interview. I had another podcast that was really riveting, but then I think it all turned out to be bullshit. So I'm not even going to talk about that one. But yeah, I would say up and yeah, you guys know. I think you guys know which one I'm talking about. But there was one there that was really interesting, and then it just as time went on, about a year goes on or whatever, and it's like, well, I think that was all bullshit. But
yeah, nothing that was talked about there actually came through, huh?
And you got to look out for that too, and you got to own it too, and that's why immediately I go on my show and I'm like, yeah, I think that guy was full of shit. You know, you got to do it, man. You got to own it. And you're like, that might have been.
No, that's one of the things I've always respected about you. You're like, you're willing to admit that. Like you joke around and always be like, yeah, I don't miss, I never miss. But if you do, you're open. Like, hey, is that wrong? It's fine.
Right. The joke is I don't miss. You know, that's
there it is. That's
right? The cockiness, the arrogance. That is the joke. Oh, Triple H.
It's great. It's fun.
That's the joke. That's the bit. Like, I don't like. You know, I know wrestlers definitely do hear it and shit. I'm not saying Tony Khan. So if I say that, I'm kidding, right? Like it's fucking.
Or are you?
Part of the gimmick, yeah, part of the persona. Yeah. Or am I? I'm the mole.
I do always find it funny though when I come in and look on Twitter and see that there was a ton of people that didn't get the joke, and you'd be like, guys, I was kidding, guys. There was a joke. You feel like I have to explain myself? All right, fine.
Dude, that one time I got a DM from Phil going, someone, I won't say who, thinks I'm the mole. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, multiple people have thought I was the mole.
Yes.
That's all right. Brock thinks I'm Jake Hager, so.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess. Brock's a fucking...
Right.
He's okay. It's okay for that. For him to fuck up like that. But to think I have time to do this and be the mole, you must be out your goddamn mind.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't think people realize how much time this all takes.
Exactly.
I had one last question that I had, and it's kind of like probably take a couple seconds to think about. What's your favorite match that you've witnessed, been to, seen on TV live, or whatever you've seen it, and why was it your favorite match?
Well, fuck, man, that really narrows it down.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said I would ask it near the end of my questions, because I wasn't.
This
was the last one I had written down.
My favorite match I ever seen live in person was at a house show in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, and it was FTR versus right before they left the company versus Chad Gable and Bobby Roode, and that was the best match I've ever seen in person. They were doing like You know Motor City's move where they do like the neck breaker with the fucking frog splash combo? They were hitting
Right.
that with like salts and shit, bro. Bobby Roode and Gable, they were wrestling like you could tell FTR were they were wrestling like, bro, we're gonna steal this fucking show on our
That's
way
4
out.
professionals that would absolutely, like, before the match, don't talk about anything else, just, we're going to steal this? Yep. Yeah.
And
You see, those house shows are the best matches because they're just having fun.
yeah, that was the best match I've ever seen in person. Like I'm talking indie. I'm talking like I've seen fucking Danielson. You know what I mean? Wrestle in person like before, like early, like years and years ago. So Cody Rhodes on an indie. You know, I've seen before he went to AEW or like AEW was a thing or anything. So
Right.
yeah, but to see this at a live event, fucking Bobby Roode and Gable versus versus FTR. That's got the best match I've ever seen.
Yeah, and house shows are just so much fun. That's one of those things where I really hope they really figure that out, that they need to at least keep some sort of house show market going, because the house shows are a great way to bring fans. Yeah, like it's just much more fun. Plus, it gets people to get the repetitions in, especially for the younger talent that hasn't gotten to get as much work in yet. So, yeah, I went to a house show probably 2.5 years ago was the last time I went to one, and it was so much fun. The most fun I've ever had at shows has been at the house shows for sure. Every time.
If
Are
you're
you close?
oh, sorry.
Are you close? Are you close enough in Edmonton to get enough people tours to come up there and stuff? Or
Sorry, what are you asking me? Am I close enough?
no? Where you live? Do you get a chance to go see live events? Is what I should have said to begin with.
I've seen a bunch. Yeah, I've been to TV and stuff. Yeah, I've been to AEW shows and shit when they come to
So
Canada.
you're kind of near Edmonton, basically, right?
I'm,
Not getting too specific.
I'm a bit of ways from there actually. That's
Okay.
actually a hefty drive for me. Yeah, but it's
So I'm wrong.
it's not. It's I could do it. I could do it. Like if I wanted to tonight, I could fucking go. You know.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm just in buttfuck nowhere though. So, I was gonna say though, because you asked me like the best match I saw on TV or pay-per-view or whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck man, I mean that's tough, right? Like
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
standout in my head, but to me the greatest match of all time. I'm with Cody Rhodes on I'm on Cody Rhodes' team and Chris Van Vliet's team when it was in Toronto. Speaking of Canada,
Right.
it was fucking Hulk Hogan versus The Rock
18,
WrestleMania.
yeah.
That's the greatest match in pro wrestling history, in my opinion. Yeah. So
I mean, it's
right there.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few matches that I can like sit down and remember where I was and watching that, and like you didn't expect it to be the moment as big as it was. You know, it's one thing when they build up a match or you build up to a main event with where it was on the card and just how that crowd made that match. It wasn't so much the specific match; it was that crowd were like, "No, this is what we're doing," and it was just an awesome time.
Another one would be the TLC, right, with the Hardys and Edge and Jim and
Yes.
the Dudleys. Another one would be Jeff Hardy versus Undertaker on that Raw.
The ladder match.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fucking. I just remember that, like, oh my god, that's one of the greatest matches ever at the time. Another one would be, let me think, RVD versus John Cena at One Night Stand.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Dude, and that finish, like when you look back, you're like, fuck, man, they almost could have did without that finish. But boy, at the time, man, the fucking heat that went on Edge for that shit for coming out, man, and just the heat on Cena, that was so cool. And another series of matches that I think are fucking brilliant, legit, are the Omega Okada matches in New Japan. Like, I think that series of matches might be one of the greatest, like,
Yeah, those I've actually seen.
they're fucking, they're really amazing matches, you know, but like
Yeah.
7-star,
They are.
I don't know all that, but I just remember each of those being like, holy fuck, you know, like just, I don't know. Those guys are so good. It's such a shame to see what Okada is now. Well, it's not really a shame because, you know, he's getting paid and he's just like, fuck it, I don't really care, but it just sucks to see him not care about wrestling.
Yeah.
You know? He's so good.
It just makes you sad. It's just like, oh.
It does.
Yeah, because the New Japan show used to come on Thursday after TNA, and I used to watch it, stay up late and watch that. And those were the reasons I stuck up late for it, was to watch the Kenny Omega Okada matches, and those were good. Real good matches.
Absolutely.
I did enjoy them as well.
That was really all I had really seen of Kenny Omega before AEW had started, and that's why AEW first came around, I was really excited. I hadn't watched wrestling in about 4 years and got myself back into watching it, and then saw what they did and was, oh, okay, well, you want it to be good, it's just not.
Yeah. Would you call the turning point for AEW when they showed the backstage footage or when they let Punk go? Or both?
So what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? The turning point?
Well, there's a downfall that happens in AEW where they're at like 1 million per week, and then Punk is there for all that, and then Punk goes away.
Well, here's the thing.
And they're kind of leveling off, and then they kind of showed the footage, and then they went downhill. And
here's the thing, though. The 1 million per week, it didn't even last that long. Like, that was done
no, it
before
didn't.
Punk showed up, and then Punk showed up, and then they did like a huge number that one show, and then it just sort of went back down, like below the million or whatever, and then it kind of just trended downwards. And yeah, because his storylines, even with Punk, like he was trying so fucking hard, but his storylines it didn't really mean much, like near the end there. You know what I mean? It felt very like is he working with Hangman? Is he not? Is he, oh, he's just jobbing to Moxley in 2 seconds? Okay. Sort of seemed weird. And then his last match with Samoa Joe might be the greatest one. Well, okay, Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes is the greatest AEW match of all time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That fucking Joe Punk match is like number 2. I think that's the second best AEW match of all time. That was the best match on that All In show. Those guys were so fucking over, and they just crushed it, man. And I'm so happy I got to see fucking Punk Joe at that All In. But
yeah, because Punk already knew he was gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would say the turning point. Yeah, that's. I would say where they officially just lost it, where it's like, okay, you're TNA 2. I would say Punk leaving the first time, not even the second time, because the first time is where they brought Punk back, and instead of doing the angle and showing the footage then and have him come back and go, fuck the Elite, fuck Kenny Omega, and get to like Punk and Omega and have the Bucks and FTR fight and all that stuff, you know, like the real, we were like, do Punk and FTR versus fucking the Elite now, like do that. We
was
want
right there.
Heat. Everyone believes there's real heat between the Bucks and FTR. We know that Punk just got in a fight with the Bucks and Omega and shit. Just book that. Be men and do business. They would have started. That's where I would say is the turning point. Was the first time Punk had to leave because they had 2 choices. They could have either ran with it and actually started drawing 1 million viewers again and like actually being in the company. That would have changed the company for the better. If they had to just all work together, everyone would have been tuning in to see Punk and Omega and shit. Like, are they really going to shoot on each other in the ring? Everyone would have tuned into that shit, man. Everybody.
Even just the promos would have been great to watch.
Yeah, I think that would have put them in the conversation where there's no like, oh, NXT's beating AEW every week. I think AEW would have been, they'd be up there, like competing again in the millions of viewers if they had to just fucking went that route and listen to Punk and shit. But then they took the second choice, which was, we don't do anything with this. We flop this. And then,
erase it.
They do the silly match where Kenny Omega bites the arm clearly on camera, and they poke fun at it and never do anything with it. And I still think William Regal was my point, where if he'd let William Regal like be the silent hand behind Tony and actually like help him book and figure it out, and how they used Regal and how he left, like from that point I knew there was never going to be any saving it. I want there to be. I would love to see it turn around and become an enjoyable program again, but every time I tune in, you can only watch it for so long before you're just like, all right, pass. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I just really thought if they they could have made the choice to be like, we're going to fucking blow everyone away with this real work shoot feud. And instead of doing that, they just chose the other route. Like, no, we're going to try and bury it. And then that's where fans just went, fuck it, like, for the most part. But I think they could still be in the conversation as real competition had they just played that feud out. And or like even when they did the blood and guts and then Punk pitched to them, he's like, let me fucking be in that match. And the Bucks didn't
Right.
want it. They refused it, man. So it's all on them. Like, I don't care what anybody says. It's proven. It's verifiably proven that it's on the Bucks.
Yeah, and Tony for not
And-
forcing them to do it. That's have a leader that's got some balls and some backbone and be like, no, this is what we're going to do. Well, we're not going to do it. Okay, you two are fired then, because Omega said he would have done it, and I believe
Yeah.
Omega would have.
And like they no-showed another meeting prior to that. Like if people, the fucking guy who's supposed to pick Punk up from the airport's like the Bucks' best friend.
Right.
He fucking thinks he's an honorary Buck. Go on his Twitter. Like he calls himself honorary Young Buck.
Honorary Buck.
So this guy is who left CM Punk. Like this isn't all a coincidence. I'm sorry. Like I don't care if you love I love the Bucks too. Right? We talked about it earlier. Like I'm sure that's why George and fucking Jake didn't even really like my content because I fucking like the Bucks and shit too. Like I do. I tried defending them for so long. But just week to week they got exposed being on TV.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
They were fine in indie shows, and when you
Yeah.
only have to see like a video package or like they talk about things that you've done, but week after week you realize it's the same stuff. I mean, that's what you've talked about it plenty of times. And so George and I about Ospreay, where he does everything he can do in every match, and it makes nothing is special. Everything's the same. You don't remember anything. What was the difference between that match and the one 2 weeks ago and the one 3 weeks from now? They're all the exact same.
Yeah, no, they got
So
exposed. Like if it's not viral clips or
Yeah.
like on indie shows over there,
Right.
like, watch it here and there. Like, oh, there's a big New Japan show or oh, there's a big ROH show. Then just it's overexposed, you know, and then you just realize shit really doesn't work as good as those guys thought it would.
I remember like what I saw the most of is you'd see like a 5 to 7 minute clip of a 25-minute match, and that 5 to 7 minute clip was great. But then you realize in a whole match, it's just, you know, it drags on and they just keep doing the same thing and it doesn't go anywhere.
So we're to also assume that this book coming out from Keith Elliott Greenberg is not going to address any of this, right?
No. It'll address it, but it'll address it in the biased rewritten in the way AEW All Access addressed it. So for people who are saying they won't alter their history, they've already have.
They already yeah.
People don't get like when I comment, man, they're not like Cody Rhodes and them aren't going to be interviewed. Okay, listen, I don't need to read it, right? They are not. You think they interviewed CM Punk for this book to get an updated, up to date his thoughts on the book? You fucking idiots! No, like, and that's where the history padding comes in. And I've criticized WWE for the same shit. And I said it on my show. I'm sorry I didn't have a podcast when the rise and fall of WCW DVD came out, so I could bitch about that being fake. But the thing is this is what the same thing I criticized WWE for when they alter their fucking history and they try and it. It's the same thing they're going to do with AEW. How do I know? The AEW All Access TV show that focused on who? All the people on the front of that fucking goofy book and Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes, I don't think he was focused because Cody Rhodes had Rhodes to the top. So he wasn't even on that All Access show. He was doing his own reality show. So that's what I'm saying. Like that reality show didn't even show Cody Rhodes. It didn't acknowledge him. It didn't acknowledge Punk either. The whole point of that reality show, the Bucks' whole storyline in that show is we're coming back from suspension and we got to get our trios titles back from those dastardly death triangle who took them from us while we were gone. Well, why were you gone? They don't mention it. They don't mention they got in a fight. They don't mention CM Punk. They don't mention that fucking any of that. So they already did this in a reality show. What makes you think they're not going to do the same with this? So they're going to talk about Brawl Out, but they're not going to talk about it like the way you're not going to get both sides of the story. Okay. It's going to be like a fluff piece. They'll probably be nice about Cody Rhodes and they'll probably use quotes from Cody Rhodes before.
Right. Exactly. They'll use the old footage.
Guarantee it. And they'll be nice about him and everything. But to think that it's going to be honest and true about their last 6 years, No, it's going to be a book going like, and in 2025, the cage match with Moxley and Joe got the highest rating of 2025. But it's not going to mention that since like the highest rating of 2025 is like less than half of what their rate, or like with half of what their ratings used to be. They're not going to talk about shit like that, which is fine. They don't have to. But when I point out that they're not going to do that, don't be fucking dumb and come at me and go, oh, did you read the book? How do you know? Did you read it? Did you read it? Shut up. I just pay attention to shit. This wouldn't be the first time I was right about shit like this either. So it's like, just shut the fuck up and enjoy the ride, goddammit.
They're the living embodiment of that meme of, I must go defend Tony, no matter what. No matter what's being said, I've got to defend. They made their entire personality, you said it earlier, about it was the hatred of Vince and WWE, and so they kind of moved that into loving AEW, and now Vince is gone, but they can't get past where they were. They can't grow up to become adults, kind of like the Bucks couldn't decide to be adults and actually have the match with Punk and FTR. They did what they did and took a victory lap in front of 6,000 people that now would be in front of 600 people.
Yeah, was it even 6,000?
I don't know. I just know, but I know that was in Chicago, and that might have been when they still were doing decent. I felt 6 was like at least close to a guess, maybe. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I don't know though. I know it hasn't been anything good for a long time.
Hey Phil, we touched on it earlier, but before we let you go, can you explain what's going on over at Philmark's out? Fuck, I'm trying to say. God dang.
Sure, yeah. Absolutely. So, what's going on over at youtube.com/@PhilMarksOut is I talk about pop culture. So if you guys like hearing me talk about pro wrestling and my takes on pro wrestling, and if you think I have good insight on pro wrestling and that, check me out at PhilMarksOut. I mean, I have good insight on movies and comic books, and I've worked in and around the stuff.
You're gonna have a crossover episode where you review Queen of the Ring. You could do that. You could do that for both channels. That would work.
Yeah, so that was kind of my plan. So thanks for announcing that, Jake.
Oh, way to go! Way to blow it.
It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I was thinking of maybe doing like a cross stream pause, no Diddy, where maybe I stream on both channels at the same time and I do a quick review of Queen of the Ring for you guys, because I watched that last night. Actually, finally, I got my hands on it. So.
Yeah. No, I've got my internet back up and running, and that's my plan, because I'm on the West Coast, so it's only like 6:15 for me. So after this, that's my plan, to give that movie a good watch. I've been dying to see it because the closest theater where it was playing to me was 45 minutes away.
It wasn't playing anywhere near me, and actually the Queen of the Ring folks are melting down.
I've seen that. What is that about?
They're talking about like WWE was blocking their advertising and stuff like that. So I don't know. I know that I don't know. I'm fairly certain that like some WWE wrestlers were supposed to be in
Charlotte and Liv, and then they couldn't do it, mostly probably because of Vince. I think Liv might actually have been hurt and couldn't have done it, but I think it was still in the time of Vince they kind of nixed it like he did with Priest.
Either way, yeah, it was them and whoever it was that was, supposed to replace whatever. At the same token, Naomi's in it, but y'all got to remember she did, I believe she signed for that like while she was out of WWE. And still just being Trinity Tattoo. So, if you really think about it, I think it was supposed to be WWE girls is who they wanted in it, but then they had to sort of settle for the AEW gals, not hating on them or anything. And yeah, I think that's where some of the speculation comes from, I guess, that WWE's blocking them or wouldn't. I guess they were supposed to do like a cross-promoted Raw or some shit. I don't know, like the way they had.
Yeah, the wording seemed kind of weird. I saw that too.
Yeah, the way they had the Queen of the Ring episode of Dynamite, I think they were supposed to do that on Raw or something. But it wouldn't be the first time. Like Jay and Silent Bob were supposed to promote their reboot movie, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, on SmackDown, and they were going to go do it on Dynamite, right? And then when WWE caught wind of, you're going to go promote this movie on Dynamite too? You guys aren't allowed on SmackDown, and they kicked Jay and Silent Bob were the first victims of the Wednesday night.
I did not know. That's funny.
Yeah.
I used to be a big fan of the what they call that, the View-esque universe, like with Clerks, Mallrats, and Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, those first
Yeah, well,
Dogma are really good movies.
Friend of mine, Husey, who's on Pro Wrestle Times, also will be doing stuff with me over there on Phil Marks Out.
Nice.
And he worked for Kevin Smith.
Oh, no
so
shit.
Worked with
Wow.
There you go. So, but yeah, I'm going to be over on at Phil Marks Out to answer your question. I'm just talking about comic books, movies, other YouTube drama, just stuff I'm passionate about
Nice.
over there. And it's different than my show. It's not as podcast oriented. It's more like scripted and video edits and memes and that sort of shit. You know what I mean? So consider checking it out.
Definitely. I've subscribed.
The name is Boo Boo Kitty Fuck. Nothing.
No,
It's Boo Boo Kitty Fuck, bitch.
I was gonna go with Morris Day in the motherfucking Time, but
We do.
one of my favorite movies. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, my honestly, one of the best movies of like that era. You know, people say Kevin Smith fell off, but I don't know. I like Clerks 3. Yeah, I don't know. Jay and Silent Bob reboot was what it was. I felt like it paid homage to the original one, but yeah, dude, it's all about that fucking Wolvie Berserk, Weapon X, noinks, noinks, noinks.
See, what he's doing is he's using the adamantium claws. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of everything through like, I mean, I guess the first Jay and Silent Bob too, because Dogma's a great movie with George Carlin.
Yeah, well, Dogma's good. That one got shitted on a bunch. But
That's
yeah,
so funny. Really... George Carlin's just great.
Chasing Amy's good too. It's just way ahead of its time.
Right.
But it did get a following. But if that movie came out now, it would be winning like fucking all the awards and shit, you know? You guys know that one.
Oh yeah, no,
right?
one of my that's probably my favorite Kevin Smith movie of them all.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It was just so far ahead of its time. I feel like that it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the opening scene of that movie, I cry every time about it. We can't say anything about it here because we don't put it on YouTube with the words they use, but I love it. It's a great movie.
You a tracer. You draw in between the lines.
I'll trace a chalk outline around your dead body. Such a good
movie. No, you a tracer. Nobody got the heart to tell you. But tracer, you go between the lines.
What's great is one of the not the main guy yelling at it, but the other guy's Casey Affleck, Ben Affleck's little brother's in that scene. That's so great when you go back and watch it. You don't realize. I love those movies.
So Phil, it sounds like you're getting busy with the father thing back there. Do you want to plug your stuff before you go here?
Oh, I'm great. I'm good. Sure, yeah, guys, you already know where to find me. I'm at youtube.com/at Pro Wrestle Times or at Pro Wrestle Clips. I go live Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and I drop videos every day, literally every day. I try to bring some levity to this wrestling shit, and
you do.
A lot of these fucking dirt sheet people, like, listen, I knew about the AAA deal before any of them. And I just made it into funny jokes, and that's way better than the way they do it, and charging you $5.99 to be on their Discord, and you can come by Discord for free, okay? And to fucking act like we're in the know and we know shit. It's clown behavior. They take themselves too seriously. You shouldn't be harassed or targeted because you disagree with someone's fucking news and shit like that. And
send their army after you.
Come on over come on over, check out your boy Phil Marks, where I present the news as they present it, and I react to it only as I can.
And the world's better
most of the time live, too. Live reactions.
Yes.
Always great. Phil, I can't thank you enough for doing this,
Absolutely,
but I appreciate
it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. I appreciate you guys having me on, and thanks for having me on, like, where we weren't just quickly rushing.
Right. No, this is better. We guys have a real conversation versus trying to pick. Well, that's the other problem, too. We were doing the AEW pay-per-view, so we had to preview 17 matches or whatever it was. Okay. None of them mattered. Got them all right, but none of them mattered.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Phil. Say hi to Mini Marks and the missus.
I will. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks, boss. Love you, man. Peace.
Take it easy.
It was a good time. That was fun.
All right. So that was fun.
Oh, man.
Reminder, next week, everybody's participating. You guys can all participate. Come on in, talk about what you want to talk about.
And we'll be on early. We're going to go on early before the AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah, be respectful of other people. Stuff like that.
Be respectful. Mute yourself if you're not speaking, that whole thing, you know.
Yeah. It all works out.
Yeah,
and we have a great story. We'll have a great story leading off our episode 13.
I was just going to say, we're going to check us out at youtube.com/@AltJake we haven't released any new episodes recently simply because I had an internet issue, but I'll tell everybody that story Jim Cornette style the next time we record. We're going to do another match review soon. We'll have more content coming. I'll clip this up for anybody who kind of came in late. I'll post this to the YouTube page in full soon and clip it up as well. So thanks everybody. Really appreciate you hanging out.
Have a good night.
Peace everybody.